It's hard not to love boxed mac and cheese, and making the most out of the creamy pasta isn't hard. Whether it's meat, spices, or extra cheese, here are a few easy hacks to amp up the flavor and get the most out of every bite. So just think about it. Mac and cheese by itself is creamy and cheesy. So by using basic logic, adding more creamy cheese to the mix would only serve to amplify the comforting effect. And actual cream cheese has the added benefit of providing a slightly tangy taste. According to one Redditor, you don't even need much cream cheese to make a significant improvement to the taste and flavor of standard boxed mac and cheese. Simply add a few ounces of an inexpensive cream cheese to your pot of mac, stir it in, and allow it to melt over low heat as the flavors meld. Of course, you'll get the best flavor if you purchase full-fat cream cheese rather than reduced fat or fat-free, although the added ingredient won't exactly make your pot of mac and cheese any healthier. But then again, mac and cheese isn't supposed to be a health food, so if you plan to indulge, might as well go all in, right? It makes sense that the first mac and cheese hack you consider wouldn't involve adding spices to the mix. But the reality is, even a little bit of pepper can go a long way in amping up the taste of boxed mac and cheese. One Redditor responded to a question about making mac and cheese better by simply stating, "A dash of black pepper. Thank me later." Other proponents of the hack suggested throwing in a lot more than a dash, and one Redditor gave the hack high praise by saying, "Black pepper is some gourmet work lunchroom sh." That highlights an important point. Adding black pepper couldn't be cheaper or easier, since you likely already have the spice on hand. Even if you are in the work lunchroom, you could probably dig up some single-use pepper packets left over from someone's fast food lunch. Sure, standard boxed mac and cheese has some protein in it already. Cheese contains protein, milk has protein, and even pasta has a little bit. But if you're trying to increase protein intake, mac and cheese is an easy base for adding any number of different protein options. In one Reddit thread on improving boxed mac and cheese, different users suggested lots of easy options: ground beef, slices of sausage or hot dogs, a can of tuna, bacon, or even Spam. In fact, one Redditor suggested Spam and got pretty specific with the tip, stating, "Dice it and get the pieces super crispy. It stretches it and makes it so smoky and luxurious." Imitation lobster, crab, clams, and even chorizo also made the list. Obviously, none of these suggestions are high-end meats, so choose the one that fits with your palate and personal budget. Or you could always try other options, like shredded chicken or beef. You could even throw in an egg or two and let it cook while you mix in the cheese. Kraft even offers up more complex, protein-rich recipes like taco bakes and lasagna. You don't even have to like Cheez-It crackers all that much to appreciate the next-level genius of adding them to your mac and cheese. In another Reddit thread, Reddit user Let It Dough suggested crushing up the crackers and sprinkling them on top of your prepared mac and cheese. But Let It Dough wasn't the only Cheez-It genius to offer up tips. Capped Obvious 789 suggested stirring the Cheez-Its into the cheese sauce. And yet another Redditor went next level by saying you should crush the Cheez-Its, mix them with butter, then toast them to make them extra crispy before sprinkling them on top of your pasta. No matter how you do it, the gist is the same. Take something cheesy, crunchy, and salty, and add it as a topping or a mix-in to your cheesy, gooey pasta. Basically, you end up with a comfort food flavor explosion. And if you really don't like Cheez-It, experiment with other crunchy snack foods, like goldfish crackers or pretzels.
Flavor, flavor, flavor! Crunch!
Okay, for the most part, boxed mac and cheese hacks are low-key recipes that are easy to add to your cooking routine. But there are a few gourmet hacks that are worth test driving at least a time or two. That's why you should add deep-fried mac and cheese balls to your repertoire. Really, the concept couldn't be easier. Reddit suggests simply making the boxed mix according to the recipe and mixing in jalapenos, bacon bits, or other add-ins for extra flavor. Then you form the mac and cheese into balls and refrigerate to get the shape in place before coating them in egg and breadcrumbs. The last step is to simply fry the coated balls and serve, turning your basic boxed mix into a somewhat fancier affair. Another Redditor offered the suggestion of spreading the mac and cheese in a pan and cutting it into bars before refrigerating, breading, and frying. Bonus points if you mix some veggies into the mac and cheese before frying to at least serve up a few extra nutrients. In what can only be referred to as a poor student's mac and cheese hack, Redditor Continuous Baba suggests taking 2 college noodle favorites, packages of ramen and boxed mac and cheese, and pulling a switcheroo on the sauces. You simply make the cheese sauce, according to the mac and cheese directions, but mix the sauce with ramen noodles. Whether you opt to use the ramen noodle flavoring is really up to you. Continuous Baba suggests against it, but some of the other Redditors responding to this hack said that using both types of sauce with both types of noodles is the best hack around. All you have to do is just throw everything in the pot together. Granted, you'll probably end up eating enough sodium in one sitting for 2 or 3 lifetimes, but if it's an occasional treat, you'll probably survive. When it comes to boxed mac and cheese hacks, the general goal is to make standard mac and cheese even cheesier, creamier, and more packed with fat and sodium than the original. Which honestly makes sense. If you're going to eat comfort food, why not make it as indulgent as possible? One way to maximize the creaminess of your mac and cheese is to switch out regular milk for something even creamier, like heavy cream. The result is a thicker, more decadent mac and cheese, according to Redditor Haley J1609, who made the hack by mistake after she started pasta, then realized she had no milk on hand. She wrote about the experience saying, "Holy cow, it was the most intense mac and cheese ever." She's not alone. In the same Reddit thread, another Redditor suggested using heavy cream and additional grated cheese. In other words, take the creaminess and the cheesiness up a notch. As for what type of cheese to add to the mix, well, that's up to you. The good news is lots of Redditors have suggestions when it comes to adding additional cheese to boxed mac and cheese to level up the taste experience. You can always steal packets of cheese mix from other boxes of mac and cheese to enjoy twice the cheese, but ultimately, that just messes up your future mac and cheese making experience. It's better to add small amounts of fresh cheese to the mix. Popular suggestions include cheddar, Gouda, and Parmesan cheeses. Although some suggestions offer the simple shredded cheese option, you could also work in nacho-style cheese dips to make your pasta extra cheesy. Granted, no one seems to suggest fancy cheeses like gorgonzola, feta, or goat cheese. Maybe because it doesn't make sense to spend more money on adding extra cheese than you do on the entire box of mac. But if you happen to have an extra slab of brie sitting around and want to test it out, go ahead and give it a try. Maybe add some prosciutto and scallions while you're at it. Who says mac and cheese can't go gourmet?
I would have to say that it is one of the great comforting foods of all time.
Alright, so adding cream of chicken soup to boxed mac and cheese might seem weird, but cream-based soups are an excellent base for casseroles. And really, boxed mac and cheese is just a few ingredients away from being a casserole. Take Reddit's advice and consider ditching the milk in the standard directions. Instead, add peas and a can of cream of chicken soup instead. One Redditor said it changed their life. That's high praise for a hack that's so simple, but it makes sense. Peas and cream of chicken soup basically turn the standard mac and cheese into a simple casserole. Throw in some diced pieces of chicken, extra veggies, and a layer of breadcrumbs on top if you really want to transform the basic pasta into a full-on meal. And for the full casserole effect, throw the whole thing in an oven-safe dish and cook for about 30 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll make those breadcrumbs and the top layer of cheese and pasta nice and crispy. If mac and cheese is good, and if grilled cheese sandwiches are good, then what could be better than combining the two into the ultimate starchy, cheesy handheld meal? While the Redditor who made this suggestion said to simply put mac and cheese between 2 pieces of grilled bread, it's not hard to think of ways to make the experience even better. For instance, make sure you're not just using toasted bread. Load those slices up with butter before you grill them to amp up the flavor. Of course, don't stop at piling in the mac and cheese. Throw some extra sliced cheese in there. Sharp cheddar or pepper jack might give the sandwich an extra bite. And if you feel you need a little more protein, grill up some bacon or grab a few slices of roast beef you can add to your sandwich. Basically, if the add-in tastes good in a sandwich or with mac and cheese, it'll probably taste delicious in your mac and cheese sandwich too. It's not just Redditors who know a thing or two about mac and cheese hacks. The social media giant TikTok is filled with video tips to make mac and cheese better. For instance, TikTok user Sauced Up Foods says that you shouldn't follow the cooking directions as listed on the box. With this hack, you add the powdered cheese directly to the boiling pasta water. This way, the cheese melts and cooks into the pasta as the pasta is cooking, rather than being added to the pasta after it's done. Of course, this TikTok user also added extra shredded cheese to the recipe, so you have to assume that at least some of the boxed version improvement comes from the added cheese. But a writer who test drove the hack for the kitchen admitted that the hacked mac and cheese preparation did offer a slight improvement to the overall texture and flavor of the meal. A different TikToker also offered a hack that helps you squeeze the last bit of liquid cheese from the packet while making mac and cheese. In a video shared by Brooke Lowe, someone uses a lid to squeeze out the gooey cheese, pressing the packet in between the lip of the pot and the lid and pulling. Easy, right?
It's way past my bedtime, but it's hard to sleep when I know the babysitter's treating herself to a late night helping of my Kraft mac and cheese.
While most boxed mac and cheese modifications don't do anything to improve the nutrient content of the dish, that doesn't mean you can't opt for a somewhat healthier mac and cheese dish. Just as you can add almost any protein to boxed mac and cheese, you can also add practically any cooked veggie. Canned peas are one option that has already gotten a mention, but don't confine yourself to the little round veggies. Try throwing in sautéed onions or cooked broccoli or zucchini. And of course, Redditors aren't short on other possible suggestions. For instance, roasted cauliflower, fried okra, diced bell peppers, chopped tomato, and sun-dried tomatoes all made this list. So if you start to think of your boxed mac and cheese as a simple base for a full-fledged meal, all you have to do is identify the proteins and veggies you like most with your pasta and mix them right in. You don't have to mess with the original, but if you're looking for ways to improve the experience all while on a budget, it's not a bad way to start. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Mashed videos about food hacks are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.